Hi, are you trying to find the very elusive work-life balance? I know I always am, and I'm here today with Dr. Dawn Baker, who's the author of a fantastic book called Lean Out, which is the ultimate professional woman's guide to finding authentic work-life balance. Hi, Dr. Baker. How are you today?
I am so happy to see you again, Jennifer.
Thank you so much for joining me. So I'm Jennifer, the traveling publisher, and it's my tremendous honor to get to work with amazing authors like you to help you bring your books to life. And so, thank you for taking this time. I was so curious to hear what were some of your goals in publishing your book?
Well, I have been wanting to write a book for a really long time. I love writing, and I started a blog more than 10 years ago. And I knew I had a book in me, but I did not know exactly what I wanted to write about. I knew I wanted it to involve my story and my journey of work-life balance or of becoming a patient as a doctor or various different things. But I didn't know exactly how I wanted it to look because I really wanted it to have actionable practical steps for people and something that is more like a personal development book than a memoir. But at one point, the idea just finally came to me. I had consumed enough books and podcasts and personal development books of my own, on my own. And then I finally figured out what my cohesive message was.
That is tremendous. And so tell us a little bit about your cohesive message, because it is something that I know probably every woman needs to read because we all struggle with this.
Well, the book has the term professional woman in it, but really the work-life balance tips and techniques in the book can apply to anyone. However, the reason that I titled it Lean Out was because I wanted to refute the book Lean In from a little more than 10 years ago, which was really written to women about women leaning in at the boardroom table and wanting to really take on those leadership roles and go for it and negotiate and be more confident. And while I don't disagree with all of that, I think women do need to be confident. And that's a whole other topic that we can discuss that I have been delving into now after my book. But I think that some of the tenets of the lean in culture and philosophy have really gone too far. And so I asked the question in the beginning of the book, are women actually more happy and healthy because of trying to adopt this culture? Are we filling these roles and are we actually finding fulfillment in them? And I found in my research that we're really not. Burnout is at a super high rate in professions such as medicine and law, and even big tech and finances. Burnout is really becoming something on the radar. Women are becoming more unhealthy at a younger age, as are men, and there are a lot of stress-induced illnesses. There's a lot of mental illness happening. We have an epidemic of that. And then we also have something that I address in my book that isn't commonly addressed in other books, which is the epidemic of infertility among professional women. So I talk about all of these things in the book. And then the second half of the book is how you can go about going on a lean out journey of yourself. How can you still be a professional and find a work-life balance that is sustainable and that is unique for you, that gives you the fulfillment as a professional, but still fills your other cups of the other roles that you have and the other things that you're interested in doing in your life?
That is tremendous. And so I think that is what is so sorely needed is please tell me what to do. And so what would, if someone's watching this, Dawn, what would be some signs of burnout that they might recognize in themselves that might be a sign of, hey, you really need to try to get this book and learn to lean out?
Yeah, well, burnout is a large continuum. So you can be slightly burned out, or you can be really far along that continuum and be in a place where you're maybe committing errors at work, you're checked out, you're, not very effective. So there's that is one of the signs is that you're not professionally effective or you're not feeling effective. But then the other thing is feeling very despondent, feeling like you are dehumanizing maybe your patients, if you have patients, or your clients, kind of a feeling of depersonalization. And then just exhaustion. Every client, I'm a coach, so every client that I get that comes to me that is experiencing some level of burnout says that they don't have energy. They're not
Mhm.
having energy to either do the things they have to do or do the things they want to do or both. And so those are the signs you need to look for. Now, in the book, I talk also about something that is related to burnout, but slightly different, which is called the treadmill of achievement. And a
Oh,
lot
I
of us
love
are,
that phrase, treadmill of
yeah, the
achievement.
treadmill of
I
achievement.
think it's right over here, Dr. Baker. I think I'm looking at the treadmill of achievement next to me. Yes, that is so profound. Tell me a little bit about that.
So, the hedonic treadmill is a term that is used in psychology for when you say you upgrade something in your life or you get a new role and you have
Mhm.
a short-term boost of happiness. Like the analogy that's commonly used is when you buy something like a car and you are so excited about your car, you're very into the newness of the car, but then that does fade over time. And
It
then,
does.
a year later, 2 years later, you're like, man, this just isn't that great. It's not that exciting. And you start seeing other cars that you want. That's the hedonic treadmill where you have to
Ah,
constantly renew to get that boost of happiness because our happiness tends to go back to baseline. So with
so interesting.
achievement, we are on oftentimes a treadmill of achievement where you do well at something, you get praise.
Right.
The prize for the praise is more work. So you're saying yes to more things, and it becomes part of your identity to be taking on more and achieving more. And this is where the lean in culture comes in. So at some point, there might be a breaking point, and my goal is to have people recognize when they're in this state and they're on the treadmill before something bad happens, before they have a crisis, before their spouse is trying to walk out on them, before they have a health crisis themselves, which I personally had in my own journey, before some major catastrophe at work happens and you make a big mistake that affects someone's life,
Wow.
things like that.
Things like that. So what would be some early signs of health? Because I think sometimes, isn't there a great book titled The Body Keeps the Score, right? Like sometimes we might not realize that we're really stressed and burned out, but I think everybody has little triggers. Like a friend of mine has an eye that'll twitch, or I'll have sometimes like certain feelings. Like what would some of those early symptoms be?
I get the eye twitch
With your eye
myself.
twitch too.
I do. I haven't had that eye twitch for a number of years now, I'm proud to say,
Well,
but
that's huge. That's
when it
huge.
comes, I know what's happening.
That's the promise of
Um,
this book. Get rid of your whatever your eye twitch is, get rid of it.
I would say that we talked about energy management. So if you're feeling very fatigued and very depleted, and like
Depleted
when
is a
you
good
come
word.
home, maybe you take a weekend off and you're still not renewed on Monday, or you take a short vacation, you have a 3 day, even like a week vacation, and you come back and you have the Sunday scaries and you're feeling horrible. You're dreading the feeling of dread. So it's mental too. It's not just physical, but you
Right.
can also have that physical fatigue. Other things would be if there's anything happening in your health. A lot of clients come to me when they know they really need someone to help them and guide them to better work-life balance because they got a new diagnosis. At least
Oh,
they went to the doctor. I mean, some people don't, and I personally wasn't going to the doctor when I was super busy, but that kind of thing can really wake someone up. Like they got
yeah.
a new diagnosis of hypertension or diabetes or anxiety attack or something like that.
That makes sense. It can be very scary and it can be a major wake-up call. But wow, like that is probably going a little bit too far. So you've mentioned coaching and clients. Can you share with us a little bit about the type of coaching that you do and where people can find you?
Yeah. So I do basically work-life balance and career transition coaching for professional women.
Nice.
And I do have a long-standing website, practicebalance.com, where you can contact me. You can join my newsletter. You can find my podcast. You can find my book. Everything is on that website. And I will say that publishing my book has really helped me to have more people find me, to get more clients.
That is tremendous.
Yeah, it gives you, so I did not set out to do the book thinking that I was going to make a bunch of money off the book. I did the book in order to get that sense of accomplishment, but also that kind of consistent speaking message that I can give when I get hired to do a talk, when I get hired as a coach. It's a framework that I
That's
can
the
use, and I
word. Yes.
developed it. Yeah, so it's been very helpful that, and then combining it with starting my own podcast, which I started based on the book and interviews I had in the book. That has really helped me to get more coaching clients.
Oh, that's tremendous. And I love that you mentioned interviews. Your book did include these fascinating interviews and stories. And I think sometimes when someone wants to write a nonfiction book, I think maybe they feel a little overwhelmed. Like they have to come up with every single word in this book themselves. And that's not true, right? You can interview people, you can do research, and you did that very successfully.
Thank you. I did not initially think of doing that, but as I started forming the sections of the book, that was when I realized I didn't want only my story to be in there. I did want mine, but I didn't want it all to be about me. And so I set out to interview people that had done something similar, had leaned out from their profession in the very traditional way and had done something unique, and yet they're still practicing in their profession. And there's physicians, lawyers, there's an accountant in there, a variety of women that are really inspiring.
It was. It's really inspiring. And it also adds these other voices, like a depth to the book, which I really enjoy. Can you tell us a little bit about the exercises as well in your book?
Yeah,
The
so I wanted to have
exercises.
practical exercises at the end of each chapter. And they're really almost like guided journal pieces. I
Mhm.
love journaling. I think journaling is
Yeah.
so
Yes.
effective. It takes your right and your left brains and connects them together, and it forms concrete ideas in your head. And it's just something that's very effective. So there are a lot of different reflection type exercises like that. And most of them have to do with getting to know yourself better, learning about your values, paying attention to certain things about your personality, doing an assessment. And I give different resources in the book for places that you can go learn something about yourself, like if you're an introvert or an extrovert, or if you have a certain personality type, those kind of things. So I wanted to incorporate those because I wanted it to be somewhat of a workbook,
Yes.
something that gave some actionable strategies.
It really does. It helps the reader to go beyond and take that exploration and learn about themselves, which is tremendous. And so I'm so curious. You mentioned something so fascinating about how you have leaned out, Dawn. Is there any example you could give us from your life that really helped that maybe would be a good tip?
Well, it's interesting because, we're on YouTube here. You can see my background. There's a bunch of
Mhm.
forest in my background. I have done something unique as an anesthesiologist. I work on a very part-time basis, and
Wow.
I live in the mountains on an 80-acre homestead. And this is a new thing that we I love challenge in my family that we did to challenge ourselves. My husband always wanted some sort of a ranch type property, and when COVID happened, that was when we jumped on finding one because it didn't seem right to travel at the time, and we were looking at doing that. So I was already going to do something different in my profession, and I was going to be a traveling doc. But now I only travel to one particular place, and I keep my work very simple, but I still love treating patients. I love giving anesthesia. So I do that on a part-time basis. And then from here, I just need a high-speed internet connection, and I do my coaching and I do my podcast. And then I'm raising chickens. I'm homesteading. I'm homeschooling my daughter. I'm growing things in the garden. I'm learning about this lifestyle, which is very different. It's not something I ever grew up doing. And it's been a super fun challenge. And I start my book with a story related to living on this property, and I end it also with the property. So that's why I chose on the cover there's like a forest on the cover with trees.
Yes.
So
Yes,
yeah,
I love it. And I love it how it came full circle in the book. And there's something about this cover that I feel like even just looking at this makes me feel calmer. It's just so beautiful and so serene. It's so gorgeous. It's so
thank you.
perfect. It's so you. So may I ask my last question is always my favorite, Dawn. What are your hopes for the future and dreams and goals?
I definitely have some. So I haven't told you this yet, but I am thinking about writing another book. So we'll be talking.
I would love that.
We'll be
I
talking
would love to work
eventually.
with you again.
I am launching a course this winter that is all
Right.
about confidence. And it is a video guided course, and it's related to the book. It's the confidence in order to do something unique in your field of work. And that is what I found that a lot of clients come to me and they say, I don't have confidence to ask for what I want. I don't have confidence to like make this ask of my group to do this weird schedule that nobody is doing and order something off the menu. And so I took a deep dive into confidence, and that is becoming a video course. It'll be out sometime in January.
Yeah, sure. We will add it to the description, which as well, by the way, of course, the
Okay,
link to Amazon.
I
Yeah.
have an interest page. It's
Oh,
practicebalance.com/LOCC. So you can
perfect.
add that to the for a link. And
Fabulous.
then I'm thinking about writing a book on that topic. So going deeper on
Great.
that topic because there's a lot of existing books about it, and I don't agree with those books either. So it's another
Good
thing
for
where
you.
I have consumed a lot of information about this topic, and now I'm like, well, I have really got to give my own view on this that is very different. But the other things I'm interested in doing are continuing to coach and do my podcast where I interview other interesting professionals, both men and women, that are
Oh, good.
leading a life that is less ordinary in their profession. And eventually, I want to do retreats on our property. We just have to
Oh,
build
wow.
some places for people to live, to
Oh, that's
stay.
wonderful.
So
Well, me
it's
and my
going to
camper
be
van will be out there. That sounds
yeah, you definitely,
fantastic.
it'll be easy to camp on it, but we need to have something for people that fly in. So that it might be like 5 years down the road. It's kind of my retirement from anesthesia plan.
It's a tremendous idea. I mean, just looking out those windows, like I would love to come there for a retreat. It sounds
It's beautiful.
tremendous.
Yeah.
Tremendous. I'm so happy for you. It's just been amazing, this journey that you've been on, both personally and then professionally, and then your book kind of is bridging the gap. And so I'm so proud of you and I'm so excited for you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Any other tips or advice or anything for anyone? Where can we find you again?
Yeah. So again, you can find me at practicebalance.com. The interest list for the course is practicebalance.com/LOCC. That stands for Lean Out Confidence Course.
Okay.
I have a podcast called Lean Out. My book is called Lean Out, and they're all linked on my website.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Dawn Baker. It's always a pleasure to see you. And thank you so much, friends. Please like and
Likewise.
subscribe for more and have a great day.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye-bye.